Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video we are going to cover plus equal to operator for lists and tuples in Python. To understand this concept properly, we should know what are iterables, what is concatenation, what is id function in Python, what are append and extend methods of list objects. Let us start with iterables. What is an iterable? An iterable is a collection whose elements can be accessed one by one in sequence. For example, lists are iterables, strings are iterables, tuples are iterables, dictionaries are iterables, and sets are iterables, and the sequence generated by range function is also an iterable. So these are iterables, their elements can be accessed one by one in sequence. Then what is concatenation? Concatenation is the process of joining two objects to get a bigger object. In Python, we can concatenate a list with a list, list plus list. Plus is the operator used for concatenation. List plus list will give us a bigger list. Similarly, we can concatenate a tuple with a tuple. Tuple plus tuple gives a bigger tuple. Then strings. String plus string will give us a bigger string. String plus string will give us a bigger string. For example, if I have a list containing elements 1 and 2, I have another list containing elements 3 and 4. If I say 1, 2 plus 3, 4, I concatenate these two lists, I get a bigger list. This will give me 1, 2, 3, 4. Similarly, if I have a tuple containing elements 1, 2 and another tuple containing elements A, B, if I concatenate these two tuples, I will get a bigger tuple containing these four elements 1, 2, A and B. For strings, suppose I have a string hello and then I have a string world. If I join these two strings, I will get a bigger string which is hello world. This is what is concatenation. Concatenation is defined for list and list, means list can be concatenated to a list, a tuple can be concatenated to a tuple only, and a string can be concatenated to a string only. No other kind of concatenation is allowed in Python. For example, I cannot concatenate a list and a tuple. Not allowed. String and list. Not allowed. Okay, you should be very clear about this. Then we come to the concept of id function. Id function returns the address of memory location storing a specified value or pointed to by a variable. Now to understand this concept properly, we have to see how the values are stored in memory in Python. Suppose I declare a variable a equal to 10, then I say b equal to 10, c equal to list 1, 2, d equal to, let me say, string hello, e equal to list 1, 2, and f equal to string hello. Now let us see how Python stores these values in memory. Suppose this is computer's memory. Now what I am going to explain is not exactly how the things happen, but it will give you a fair idea of how the values are stored in computer's memory and it will help you to understand the id function better. First statement, a equal to 10. Value 10 will be stored in a memory location and a will store the address of that memory location. So we say that a is pointing to the value 10, b equal to 10. Because 10 is already stored in a memory location, so b will also point to that memory location. C equal to 1, 2. Suppose this list 1, 2 is stored in this memory location and C will point to this memory location. D equal to hello, another memory location. D is pointing to this memory location. E equal to 1, 2. So 1, 2 will be stored in another memory location and E will point to that memory location. F equal to hello. Because hello is already stored in some memory location, so F will also point to that memory location which stores hello. Now the point is that A and B are pointing to the same value 10. That value 10 is stored in one memory location and A and B both are pointing to that memory location. Similarly, D and F are pointing to hello. Hello is stored at one memory location and both these variables D and F are pointing to that same memory location. Now C and E, they are also pointing to the same value 1, 2, 1, 2. Then why not E pointing to the same memory location to which C is pointing? Why is E stored separately? The answer is that because lists are mutable, so that is why they are stored in different memory locations although they have the same value. Integers, these are immutable. So once the value is stored in some memory location, all the variables storing that value will point to the same memory location. Similar is the case with variables D and F. Because hello is a string, it is an immutable data object. So D and F are pointing to the same memory location which is storing the value hello. Now each of these memory locations has a unique address. Suppose the address of this memory location which is storing the value 10 is, let me say, 100. It is an integer value. Suppose address of this memory location is 200. Address of this memory location is 300. Suppose address of this memory location is 400. Of course, these are not so simple values, but to understand this concept, let us assume that these are the values. Now if I say print id A, id function will check where is this value stored. A is pointing to value 10 which is stored at memory location 100. So it will return the value 100. So the output from this statement will be 100. Print id of B. That will also be 100. Print id of 10. That will also be 100. I hope this is clear. Similarly, if I say print id of C, it will display 200. Print id of, let me say, E, this will display 400. Print id of D, that will display 300. Similarly, print id of F, that will also display 300. This is what id function does. It returns the address of memory location storing a particular value or a particular variable. Then we come to append method of lists. Append method of a list takes an object as a parameter and appends that object as an element to the given list. For example, if I have a list A equal to 1, 2 and I have an integer B equal to 10, another list C equal to 5, 3, I am taking any random values, D equal to a string, let me say hello, f equal to some floating point value. Now if I say a dot append b, it will append the value 10 to the list A. So the list A will contain the elements 1, 2 and 10. Similarly, if I say A dot append C, now C will be appended as an object to the list A. Now A already contains 1, 2, 10. Now A will contain the elements 1, 2, 10 and another element C, which is a list containing 5, 3. If I say A dot append D, now A will contain the elements 1, 2, 10, 5, 3 and hello as a single element. A dot append F, now A will contain the values 1, 2, 10, 5, 3 as a list, hello as a string and 5.2, that is a floating point value. This is how append works. Now we shall see how extend works. Now let us see how extend works. Again, let us take an example where A is a list containing the elements 1, 2, B is an integer value, C is a list containing elements 5 and 3, D is a string, let me again say hello, and F is a floating point value 5.2. Now if I say A dot extend B, I will get an error because extend takes only an iterable as a parameter, it cannot take any other value. So this will give me an error because B, that is an integer 10, is not an iterable. B is not an iterable. So extend takes only an iterable as a parameter. If I say A dot extend, C, it will append all the elements of C individually to the list A. It will not append C as a single object. It will take all the elements of C and individually all these elements will be appended to list A. So after this, A will become 1, 2, 5 and 3. If I say A dot extend D, D is a string which is an iterable. So now all the elements of D will be individually appended to list A. Now A will become 1, 2, 5, 3, H, E, L, L and O. See, hello is not appended as a single element, but all its elements are appended as individual elements to the list A. And A dot extend F will give an error because F is not an iterable. Now the difference between extend and append should be very clear. Append takes any object as a parameter, but extend takes only an iterable as a parameter. Append adds this object as a single element to a list, whereas extend appends all the elements of this iterable to the list. I hope this is clear now. Now we can move to plus equal to operator for lists and tuples. First we cover plus equal to for lists. If I have a list A, let me again say A equal to 1, 2. Then I can say A plus equal to any iterable. And this will be equivalent to, saying A dot extend iterable. And this is not equivalent to A equal to A plus iterable. Not at all. This thing should be very, very clear. Let us take an example. Suppose B is another list containing elements 3, 4. C is a string containing elements, let me say bat. D is a tuple containing the elements 5 and 6. Now if I say A plus equal to B, then A will become, it already contains the elements 1 and 2. Now it will contain the elements of B also. Now A becomes 1, 2, 3, 4. Similarly, if I say A plus equal to C, now A will contain the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, B, A, T. And if I say A plus equal to D, now A will contain the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, B, A, T, 5 and 6. This is how plus equal to works for lists. And this thing should be very, very clear. Now we come to plus equal to for tuples. Suppose I have a tuple A equal to 1, 2. It is a tuple containing the elements 1 and 2. Now what I can do is A plus equal to any other tuple. I cannot give any other object, I have to give a tuple only, because this is equivalent to A equal to A plus tuple. Now A plus tuple, because A is a tuple and this is concatenation, so next thing has to be a tuple only. It cannot be anything else. So that is why we can say A plus equal to tuple only. Suppose I have a list B equal to 3, 4. C is a string, bat, and D is a tuple containing the elements 5 and 6. If I say A plus equal to B, I will get an error, not allowed, because B is not a tuple. Similarly, A plus equal to C will also give an error, because C is not a tuple. But A plus equal to D is correct, and now A will become 1, 2, 5 and 6. It's a new tuple. So this is how plus equal to works for lists and tuples. For a list, plus equal to is equivalent to extend method, but for a tuple, A plus equal to tuple is equivalent to A equal to A plus tuple. So I hope this is very clear to all of you. Now another point I have to clear. Suppose A is a list 1, 2, B is a tuple 1, 2, and C is another tuple containing 3, 4. Now this thing you can execute on your computer. Try to print the ID of A, then print the ID of B. Suppose here you get the output alpha and here you get the output beta, some numbers. Now what you do is A plus equal to B, this is valid, and now A will become 1 2 1 2. Then you say B plus equal to C. Now B will become 1 2 3 4. Now you try to print the ID of A and B again. Print ID of A and print ID of B. Here you will observe that you get the same ID as you got previously, alpha, and here you will get some new ID, let me say gamma. It is not same as beta, not same as the previous ID. So this ID of B has changed. What does it mean? It means that B has been redefined, it has not been updated, but ID of A remains the same. Here it is alpha and here also it is alpha. It means A has been updated. So inside the computer's memory, what has happened is, suppose this is computer's memory with locations. Suppose A is stored at this memory location. This is the list 1 2. A is pointing to this memory location, it has the address alpha. B is stored here containing a tuple 1 2. Suppose address of B is beta. C is stored somewhere else representing the tuple 3 4. Suppose this is alpha 1, it can be any address. Now when you do A plus equal to B, A gets updated. Here at this memory location only, the list gets updated. But when you say B plus equal to C, it defines a new tuple 1 2 3 4 and it is stored at some new memory location. And the variable B points to that memory location. Suppose this memory location has the address gamma. Now B no more points to this memory location. The reason is that tuples are immutable, they cannot be updated. So earlier B was pointing to this tuple 1 2. Now we said B plus equal to C, it creates a new tuple and B points to that only. So this new tuple is stored at some new memory location because here it cannot be updated. In the case of lists, lists are mutable, so these are updated at place only. So A does not get the new address, B gets the new address. So we say that this list A has got updated, but tuple B has got redefined. It has not been updated. With this, I close this video. I hope the concept of plus equal to for lists and tuples is clear to you. If you like this video, click the like button, and if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe to this channel also. Thank you.